Yeah. We really boxing. Who wanted the baddest? Let's see. Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video. Put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO. Bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO. This how it's finna go. I'ma throw some jabs. Make them think my punch is weaker than I hook his ass. This the ring, not the kitchen, but I'ma cook his ass. Me and him, that's a pro versus the rookie class. All my life I had to fight, but I still love it. Me and BVO got moves that you can't steal from us. And these haters be throwing shots, but I don't feel nothing. I ain't gonna lie, shit, they alright, but we a little rougher. Step up for the title and face your rival, this ain't no little tussle. Bet I be no bird, being chicken to get your feathers ruffled. Footwork, I'm dancing around my opponent like the Cupid shuffle. Good work, bodies hit the flow, they can't move a muscle. The upside is we ain't in the streets, shooting and shooting up. Catch me in the ring, sticking, moving and suited up. I know everybody can eat, but I ain't full enough. Oh, you said it's smoking some beef? I guess I'm pulling up. Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video. Put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO. Bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy BVO Boxing, man. It's your boy D Free, aka the Oscar, aka Don't Recognize Chill as Undisputed, even though we all know it's true, man. How you feeling, man?
Primo Lopez, the takeover, two-time undisputed world champion. Primo Lopez, the
boxing, talking, content creator out here.
Say it again. I missed it. Say it one more time.
The most unbiased boxing talk content creator out here.
Here we go. You know what? I want to send a big shout out to my brother Bubba Dub. He shouted out your boy BVO. He said some disparaging things, but he's my brother and I love him. It's okay. But salute to my man G5 pulling up. Salute to my man Big Tex pulling up. And of course, my brother Juan. But you know, this is a little different. One thing I wanted to talk about, we did have a special guest.
Hold up, BVO. You can't leave the fans and the supporters in the suspense. What did Bubba Dub tell you, my brother?
Hey, we're not gonna talk about what he said. It was pure disrespect, but it was all love. He's my brother. I'm not gonna say nothing. That's just me. You know, BBO is all about love and care. But we gotta talk about something that, you know, and I gotta be honest, man. That Charleston White interview really touched me in a lot of ways, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's because I never really thought about how much we don't talk about some of the things that affect our community. Some of us, you know, live in like the suburbs and stuff now, but when you think about what we seeing, man, and just some of the literacy rates, I actually was looking at, they had a graduating class of 100 at a school here in Cleveland. So just imagine when that class started in 9th grade, there were probably about 600 kids in that class, and only 100 kids graduated. So it's like we got a lot going on, man. I'm just wondering. I'll ask you this: is something going on with just Black and Spanish people? What you think it is, man?
Um, no, it's the fact that nowadays a lot of kids don't value the education like they did back in the days because it's so many easy ways and easy avenues to make money. A lot of kids nowadays they don't think school is important to be able to make money in the future. So
Hmm.
they really don't care. They too busy being on social media, too busy hanging out in the streets. They're too busy trying to keep up with what's going on TV, on the videos and stuff like that. They don't value the importance of school, and that's I mean a lot of it deals with the parenting at home, and
Hmm.
some of it deals with the people that they watch on TV. And we don't have like back in the days, we used to have the rappers and the celebrities that always talks about how important it is to go to school. Nowadays, we don't have that as much. You might have a few that might say something about staying in school or whatever, but most of these rappers don't talk about these kids need to stay in school because a lot of them are young adults. Some of them are kids and they didn't care about school. So you don't have that nowadays.
Yeah, the reason I say that is because I mean what we seeing is such a disintegration of the Black and Spanish family, man. It's just like we don't even talk about it. Like you can go out and you might see people, and I'll just be honest. There's been times I've been out and you might see maybe one father. I mean, you of course you can always see a woman and her kids, but it's just crazy how you'll see maybe just one father. I'm just wondering, man, is it like a fathering crisis or is it just what do you think it is, man?
I don't think it's necessarily the father situation of not being in the homes or being around.
Mhm.
I mean, because it's not just the father that's going to make the kid go to school. It's also it falls on the mother as well to make the kid like in my home. My father was always at work, so my mother was the one that was always making sure we did our homework when we came home from school, making sure that we was in bed so we can get up the next morning to go to school. She was the one that was getting us dressed for school in the morning when she was still getting us dressed. My father, he was always out working. My father was in the military, so a lot of times I was home with my mother. And my father was he might have been over in Japan or he might have been somewhere else overseas or whatever. So a lot of times my mother was the one that was making sure we stay on top of our schoolwork. So it's not just the father, it also falls on the mother as well. So if the father is not around, the mother still needs to be on top of their kids, making sure they're doing their schoolwork and they know the importance of going to school.
I mean, that's a good point. I just say this. I just, one of the things that got me, um, people talk about, Chicago, Cleveland, these places have unbelievable, unalive rates. I mean, I think Chicago just had 700 caskets this year, man. I almost can't believe it's that deadly to be in Chicago, man. Salute the quick, we popping up. I just don't understand. Like, you think people hate each other, or I don't know, man. I just never thought I would see it where you would be like, dang, and then you got a guy like Charleston White. I think the thing that really got me was when he said, when I try to do it the right way, when I try to, talk about these issues correctly, I didn't get no burn. I didn't get no love. But as soon as I become ignorant, I become belligerent, I become undermining, all of a sudden he's one of the biggest stars in the world. And it's just like, I think it's something to that, man. What you think?
Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of people pay attention to um, they pay attention to the controversy. So if you're going to be a type of individual that's going to have a lot of controversy around your name, people pay attention to that. They don't really pay attention to the guy that's doing well and telling you this is what you need to do and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of great uh men that's doing what they supposed to do, and when they
Hmm.
come out to the schools and talk to them, a lot of times there's not a lot of people, not a lot of kids in those assemblies.
Hmm.
Even if it's in the community, there's not a lot of people showing up to those community meetings and those affairs like that. So it's not they more gravitate to the controversy and the street life. They gravitate to that because that's what they see on TV. All these rappers always talking about how much money they make and how much drugs they sell and how many women they getting with and stuff like that. So they gravitate to that. So when they see a person that's from that type of life or considered to be from that type of life and they showing those trademarks, that's what they gravitate to. So it's not always the man in the suit and tie that's going to be able to get those kids to do what they're supposed to do. It's the ones that's wearing well, nowadays, tight jeans hanging off their ass, the designer clothes and stuff like that. Those are the ones that they're going to pay attention to.
Yeah, as usually, man, I always laugh at Queek, man. Salute to Quickly in the chat. She said, I definitely don't listen to that dude. He said, people love drama, especially men. I don't know where that came from, but he said, not sure, but they shouldn't talk about women and drama anymore. I'll say this. I think it's crazy when you got, you don't even hear about people getting married anymore. You don't even hear about people dating anymore. You more or less hear about I've heard women on the internet, it sounds like a prostitute situation where somebody say, cash at me if you want to go on a date. Cash at me if you want to do this, or cash at me if you want to do that. And I think that sets a bad precedent, man, because you don't want these little girls or little boys to be thinking like that. I mean, I've seen a video where a little boy had I guess it was a toy weapon on him, and he was just like he was in the club, just being an ignorant jerk with it. And it's like, I just don't understand, man. I think we're in bad shape, man. I really do. I think as a people, I think we're in bad shape. I really do.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, man.
See, I came from the era when you wanted to get with a girl, you had to get to know her, you had to meet her family and stuff like that, and you had to be the good kid. They didn't want their daughters dating the street dude. Nowadays, it's all about how good is your sex before we get in a relationship. They got to make sure your sex is straight before you can get in a relationship. So they so busy worried about getting into bed instead of finding out if this is going to be somebody that you really want to deal with.
Yeah, and it's funny because you will hear someone have a child, which I don't think women understand. That's the greatest thing you can ever do for a man is have a baby bomb. And you will hear a woman who would talk to a guy who's never worked and be surprised he don't take care of his children. I don't get that. Salute the Queen coming in the building, late as always.
I'm gonna tell you why that is. Because 50 Cent said that shit. He said, "Have a baby by me, baby, and be a millionaire." 50 Cent started that shit.
What's up, Queen? How you doing?
I can't hear her. I don't know what's going on with her mic. I can't hear her.
I think she might got an Obama phone. I don't know. She might got an Obama. But I'll say this: whenever you get straight, we ready to hear from you. But I just tell you what, man. I just think it's crazy, man, when you hear that, because I'll be honest, I don't want my daughter doing that, man. I was watching an episode, just how you glance past something, and the woman was talking about letting somebody use the bathroom on her for a amount of money. I would never in a million years, man, want my daughter to ever consider that. You know what I mean? So just to hear that's even an option, dog.
Hey, they looked at that situation with R. Kelly, and they were like, that little young girl had a come up. If I could get a dude to piss on me for some millions, then I'm good. They not looking at the disgust of the situation. They looking at the money factor of the situation. They thinking, oh, the little girl had a come up. No. What about the fact that girl was humiliated in front of thousands of people that saw that video? Now this girl going around and everybody gonna say, oh, that's the girl that R. Kelly did his business on.
Oh my God. I just think it's sad because I've never attest to be a perfect individual, but I'll say this, man. I just never in my life thought you would hear some of the stuff you hear on TV. Like I can say, I remember being a little kid in the 90s, man, and you didn't see the stuff you see now. I mean, you see the alternative lifestyle. It's almost like man, they pushing an agenda. I don't know. It's kind of scary. What's going on, Queen? How you doing? I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with the mic. There's something
Yeah,
going on with the mic.
yeah, your
You
mic
might have
ain't
to
working.
go. Yeah, you might have to go into the settings and make sure you have the right mic hookup. Make sure it's connected to the right mic because sometimes if you're on your laptop might have two different mics. So you just got to make sure that it's on the right mic.
Yeah, I don't know. We can't hear you. Can you hear us?
She can hear us.
Oh,
We
okay.
can't hear her.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all. But while you get your audio straight, we can't. I can't hear you. We can't hear you at all. But I'll say this. I just think like you said,
Yeah, she,
like like you said with the whole 50 Cent thing, like have a baby by me, be a millionaire. That's not even a realistic thing. Like that. I mean, you talking about the top 1% person. I mean, when
yeah,
we all see. I'm gonna be honest. I don't play the game like I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a YouTuber, so it's funny when you see people say, "Oh, a man I'm dating got to make $300,000. A man I'm dating got to make $200,000." This is like, come on, you ain't made $50. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
That's like the girl from Wildin' Out. She says she don't want to date a guy that's working a 9 to 5 job. What?
what? What?
What? What you mean you don't want a dude to have a 9 to 5 job? So you either want a dude that's making entertainment money or you
Hmm.
want a street dude. And most of
Yeah.
the guys that's in the entertainment, they probably not gonna look at you because they heard the same situation. They like, oh no, she's a gold digger. I'm not getting with her. And then the other dudes that's not working a 9 to 5, they're gonna look at you as a free lay. That's all they're looking at. Oh, that's an easy lay for me. As long as I ain't no 9 to 5 dude. I'm a street dude. That's an easy lay for me.
And it's funny. I was watching Earthquake. I think it was Earthquake. He said this. He said they want to give it to the millionaire for free, and nickel and dime me.
Right. Oh, I'm
I
like,
mean,
I just be looking at people, and I'm like, dog, what kind of morals and self respect do you have? No, you just willing to settle for anything because to say you don't want a guy with a 9 to 5, the chances of you getting a guy from the industry by saying that are slim to none.
yeah,
Because, like I said, if I was a guy that was in the industry and I heard her say that, I'm like, I'm not trying to get with her. I'm not because I know she's looking for just for the money. She's only in
hmm,
it for the money.
yeah, and it's crazy because you know what? We all want to be successful. We all want to do well. Who he said for some of these women, it's a goal only possible by men like they don't know they pay. I'll just say this. I just never in my life have heard so many like disparaging things that you hear like a lot of women say. I'm not trying to put it. I'll be honest. I don't really care what men say. I just hate to hear what the women saying. Like, like, oh, I just couldn't believe it, man. To think that you would want somebody to use the bathroom on you as if that's a good thing.
I
And
mean,
then, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I'm just disturbed by all of my son's generation. Period. I'm just
Hmm.
disturbed when it comes to the men, how they wear their clothes nowadays, and
Hmm.
even like Tank Davis with the fingernail polish and all that, and all these guys walking around with the quote unquote man purse. I have never in my life ever heard of a man purse. That's some new stuff that's going on now. But I'm like, dog, how close to a female are you trying to be? So you like when what was the name daggone what's the guy that played for the Clippers now? He used to play with the Lakers. He's the point guard.
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook. When he was coming to the games in the Lord dresses and everything, I'm like, dog, come on. How far you gotta go, dog? How far are you gonna go? And
I
but
mean,
but but when I was coming up, we was looking at Dennis Rodman like, dog, y'all letting him play in the NBA like that? But now everybody want to do it.
and the funny thing about Dennis Rodman, it's like that was like a 10% type of person. It's like now everybody wants to be on the freak train, so to speak. And it's like for me, salute to my man Marky Dent showing love, popping up. I just think it's just sad, man, because we got to do a better job as a community talking about it. we could talk about boxing like we always do and get a bunch of views like we doing. But you know what? At some point, man, I think what Charleston said is true, man. We gotta talk about the stuff that's crazy. I didn't know this, but do you know that kids from 21, from 15 to 21, lead the nation in STDs?
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm disturbed by my son's generation. All of my kids' generation, even my daughters that's 12 years old, my twin daughters that's 12 years old. I'm
Mm-hmm.
disturbed by their whole generation because like I said, when I was coming up, it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
none of that. Like there was still virgins when I was in school. Shit, I didn't break my virginity until I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't because I was scared of girls or anything. I always had a girlfriend. I was into sports. My time was all spent in doing my schoolwork when I got home, and then after I got home, I had to go to football practice. I was into sports. Like my wife that I'm with now, she thought that I didn't like her because I wouldn't do nothing with her. But it wasn't that. I was into sports. I was into sports, and if I wasn't doing sports, I was doing my schoolwork. If I wasn't doing my schoolwork, 9 times out of 10, I was going to a church function. My family is big in the church. I was going to Bible studies. I was going to choir rehearsal. I was going to youth service. I was going to church on Sundays for both services. So I was always doing stuff when I was a kid. Nowadays, like kids got too much free time.
Yeah. What's going on, Queen? How you feeling?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are
Oh, there
you?
you go. There you
There
go.
we go.
We were
There
struggling
we go.
over here.
Got that old Michelle Obama phone to work. That's good
I
news.
know, like, what is going on? How y'all
But
doing?
we're doing
I'm good.
good.
I'm good.
That's
But just to
good.
bring you up on the conversation, we've been wanting to do this for a while. But I seen an interview, and Charleston White was basically talking about how it seems like people only like negative imagery. Do you think that's true?
I hear you. Hold on one second. I don't know what's okay. Can you repeat that?
I said I think it's funny that Charleston White made a good point on. It seems like only thing that gets across is negative imagery. Do you think that's true?
Negative energy?
Negative, like imagery and energy, just negative talk gets to
Oh,
the point.
I could barely hear you. I don't know what's wrong with my mic or whatever. But
Oh yeah,
yeah.
you ain't got no earphones on like we do. That's what it is.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Oh.
we ain't got no earphones on.
Well,
But
I dropped my phone too, so it might be that too. So I don't know. You know. Um, well, I just caught like a little bit of his topic, what he was talking about,
Mhm.
and I don't know. Well, like I agree with what he said. Some things that he said, but like I'm trying to catch up. What do you guys have you guys talked about so far?
we're just basically talking about how like just the negative imagery seems to be getting further than people who are trying to be positive. And it's like it wasn't that way when we were children. It's just a lot different for the kids coming up. Like there's actually a stat on the Wall Street Journal. I think it was from 15 to 21. Children of that age are leading the nation in STDs and STIs. So it
Yeah.
was just
So, oh, you said negative imagery. Yeah.
yeah.
So, well, for me,
Shoot
it
to
was
my brother
different because
Mark
I grew
Nash.
up in the church,
Hmm.
and hi, and so I didn't really grow up like in the background. Like he was talking about how his family was with a single mom. I had both of my parents. My dad is actually a preacher, so my lifestyle is like a little different,
Hmm.
but I can relate to some of the people, what he was talking about because of just conversations I had with friends and stuff. But when he was talking about like how the fathers wasn't in the children's lives and stuff,
Hmm.
that plays a big part on the children's mental, even as adults, even as 50, 60 year olds. They need to go to therapy for real because that it really affects them when the fathers are not in their lives. And I've seen it firsthand. Some dads try to correct it, and then some just don't because they're so hurt by it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's kind of rough. But like I said, I didn't really experience that type of lifestyle, so I'm not. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
don't know. It
but
was
I know you very close to Chicago, and I was just wondering, does it kind of scare you how those people are acting there? It's
well. I'm
unreal.
not. my city is way different than Chicago. Like
Yeah,
Chicago's
yeah,
rough.
for
My
sure.
city is a little bit, and it's calmed down some.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
I think the thing, and I'll ask you this for you grew up in DC, man, and me being in the Cleveland Akron area, I just think it's funny, man, that I could say from growing up in the project, I knew dudes who I just knew was going to be dead at some point. Excuse me, unalived at some point, because you would just see how cats can move like there's no tomorrow. Have you ever seen that, Free?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, I had a few friends that end up passing away due to the street life. Um, but it's like back when I was coming up. See, I grew up in the early '80s in DC. Back when Rafer Edmonds was out and pretty much running DC, and so that's when DC was the murder capital. And so hearing somebody being killed the night before or whatever, it was just okay. Is it somebody I know? Because you knew that how rough DC was back then. That like when I was coming up, my mother was like, "Hey, street lights come on, y'all better be in front of this house. I don't want y'all down the block or none of that." My father, he'll pull up. If we're not in front of the house, we better be in the house. If we're not in the house, he's literally coming out there finding us, and we getting the beating all the way home. So it was rough coming up, but we knew what it was because our parents instilled in us, hey, this is y'all supposed to be going to school, y'all play sports, and this is what y'all do. But the other ones that didn't have the father figure in their house, or their mothers might have been strung out on drugs at that time, they was in the streets, and a lot of those guys end up losing their lives because they end up taking to the streets, and they was young and dumb, and they got caught up in it. So yeah, I mean, I lost a few friends to the streets back in when I was coming up.
Yeah, that's a good point. As soon as my man Mark Nash said, he said, and the ones that didn't pass away ended up in jail. And I'll tell you this, it's funny too, where like you hear people talk about jail like it's a badge of honor. I mean, I love Drewski. I know you. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Drewski, but him and the other guy from Twitch, man, was like glorifying jail like there's somewhere to be. I mean, me as a kid, um, me as a kid in the youth authority, I thought that was hellacious, bro, because that's the first time I've ever seen somebody get their head busted open. And when you see that kind of violence, man, I don't think people understand that, it doesn't have to be that way. It's been times I've been out as an adult and like been realizing like the way I grew up wasn't normal. You know what I mean? It just wasn't normal. It's just crazy how that goes. What you think about that, Quinn? I don't know if she can hear us. But I'll just say this though, Free. I just really think, man, we got a problem, man. And I think at least once a month, dog, we gotta sit here, man. You said a man named Juicy glorifying Jeff. Never mind.
Yeah, like me, I always paid attention to that voice in the back of my head. Like literally, if I'm somewhere and I get that voice in the back of my head, like, hey, you need to go ahead and leave. I will get up and leave immediately because I've been in places where I heard that voice say, hey, you need to leave, and I left, and then I find out, hey, it was a shootout there, or hey, this person got jumped while he was in there, whatever, whatever. So I always pay attention. A lot of people they hear that voice, but they ignore it because they too busy having fun. I'm not that
Hmm.
type of person. If I hear that voice, I'm making my way. Like I tell my wife, if I say, hey, let's go, it ain't no questions. Get up, get your stuff, and let's roll. It ain't no questions because I've been like I said, I grew up in DC, and I know when something is about to kick off. And she's the
Hmm.
same way. She's from DC, so she's the same way too. She'll look at me and be like, "Hey, babe, it's time to go," and we'll just get up and roll. And sure enough, something will end up going down after we leave. But I mean, a lot of people don't pay attention to that voice in the back of their head. I mean, yeah, it's your conscience, but at the same token, it's not just your conscience. Everybody has that feeling that something is about to go down. It just a lot. Most people ignore it.
Yeah, salute to my brother Bentley in the my brother Bentley been talking crazy in the comments, but I love you, bro. Salute to my brother Bentley, man. He been talking wild in the comments. That's my guy right there. But I gotta say this though, Free. I just say this, man. I don't care if it's just once a month or every couple months, man. We as the
You
Roll with the Punches podcast, man, we gotta put some light on this stuff, man, because at the end of the day, man, it's unsettling to see the kind of condition people are in, man. I don't know if you ever go to the hood sometime. Like I get my hair cut in the hood, and it'd be like when you see some of the stuff people going through, you be like, dang,
yeah.
this is not even a neighbor. Because I grew up in the hood, but it wasn't like this. It was like, I hate
Oh
to
no.
say it, but it was nice. I know that sounds bad to say that, but it was nice.
Well,
You
what I
know,
what I
go ahead.
like no, I was gonna say. I mean, that's a fact. Mark Nash. Yeah, it's the God that's in me or whatever that's giving me those intuitions. But when I grew up in the hood, like my hood was a hood. Now
Yeah.
because DC is got so many different nationalities there, they rebuilding DC, so they closing a lot of the projects down. But what they're doing is they pushing those people that was living in the project, they pushing them out to Maryland, they pushing them out to Virginia. So it's making Maryland and Virginia more hood than what they used to be. Because Maryland and Virginia back in the day, those were the suburbs area. You would go to Maryland
Hmm.
and Virginia and not have to worry about nothing. It was
Yeah.
DC that you had to worry about. Now you get more shootings in Maryland than you do in DC sometimes.
Yeah, that's a fact. Hey, salute to my man Billy said, hey, it's in my opinion, bro. I know it's your opinion. I'm just messing with you, man. But I just gotta say, the funny thing about it is, man, I just hope that conversations like this, and salute to my man Mark Nash, because I actually was on his panel, and that's what made me think about this and made me go and watch that interview. But you know what, man? At the end of the day, man, when I grew up in the hood, you had really good people, and it was really nice people there. I remember, like, it used to be a lady, man. It's gonna sound kind of crazy, Free, but you would go to her house and buy like cups of frozen Kool-Aid, like,
Yeah, we
or
had that. We had that. We had the candy lady, the
yeah, the
candy
candy
man
lady,
out here.
yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
had those. We had those. They would literally go to the grocery store and buy a bunch of candy and
yeah,
and and jars of pickles and the jars
yeah,
of hot sausages, and they
yeah,
would sell it out of their house. So yeah, we had those.
yeah.
You won't catch nobody going to a candy lady house today.
No, and our brother Free cold blooded. He said people think they are from the hood. I'm gonna film the Bankhead slums and show you some of this ish. And you know what's so funny? Even when you talk about Bankhead, you know those places. Not a lot of the classically black areas, man, have been gentrified. They doing it in Cleveland. They doing it. They doing it in. They doing it in Columbus. They doing it in Cincinnati. They doing it in DC. And I tell you this, man. I don't know if it's good because I'm telling you, these young kids now, man, they're very scary, man. They have no. I remember hearing a story about two kids, right? So they're arguing. They're in the car together. The one calling the other one saying, "Oh, you soft, you this, that, and the third. I should, I should take your life and all this crazy stuff, right?" The other dude told him, "I don't care if I live or die, bro." And it's like to hear somebody that young so they don't care if they live or die, man. That blows my mind, man. That
Now,
blows my mind.
the reason why he said that is because one or two reasons. One, he don't believe he's ever going to make it in this life as far as being somewhat successful, or
Hmm.
two, he don't have nothing to live for. Everything that he had to live for pretty much crumbled around him. So that's the reason why he feel like that. There's one of the two reasons. Because like I said, he even feel like he don't have nothing to live for because everything around him crumbled. I don't know his parent situation, but they could have possibly put him up for adoption, or they could have passed away, or they could be strung out on drugs in the streets, or
Hmm.
like I said, it just he don't feel that he's ever going to make it in society. So he's like, man, I don't care if I live or die. And then you get a lot of kids like that, or a
Hmm.
lot of young people like that, because they don't feel like society accepts them. So
Hmm.
they like, man, I'm never gonna make it out of the hood anyway. So I don't care if I live or die. That's why you got so many people now, instead of them putting their hands up and fighting and getting it over with, they rather go up and pick up a gun. Because when I was growing up, you the only people that had guns were the police and drug dealers. Those were
That
the
was
only ones
it.
that had guns. Everybody else, we was fighting. Nowadays, you got little kids out here with guns. I just heard the other day that a friend of mine house a bullet went through his house because a little boy was playing with his father's gun and the gun went off.
Hmm.
I'm like, no, what was he doing with his father gun? His father was at work. The boy had the gun. He went out because he was beefing with somebody. He couldn't find him, and he came back home. He went to go put the gun away, but the gun went off as he was putting it away. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this is crazy.
Yeah, my brother Mark Nash, if you can pull up topics tonight after the show, I got another good topic list. He said that's false. There's still candy ladies out there. She's selling weed, shots, and loose cigarettes. And you know what's funny? It's gonna sound funny. I know you're gonna have fun when I say this, Free. I remember as a youngster, I had never had a hot pocket. God bless Mother Rose. We went to Mother Rose's house. We bought it for like 50 cents. And I was like, dang, I was good. And it was funny because all she would do is, I don't know if people remember this, the checks would come out on the 1st and the 15th.
Yep.
And on the 15th, Mama Rose would go grocery shopping. And I mean, she got candy, she got like sausages, all that, juices. And I don't know what it was about them little Kool-Aid cups, man. Cats would throw hands if you got the last one and somebody feel like you shouldn't have had it, you was gonna have to throw hands about it. But even that is kind of innocent now. They don't have that, There's no community, man. There used to be a guy named, and I'm a sister love this guy, Mr. Cheers, man. Old father was a friend of, he was my friend, his father. And Mr. Cheers, man, he'll take you to school, man. He see you walking, he give you a couple of dollars if you got it. And it's like, you know what? There's no sense of community anymore. I miss that, man. I really do
Right.
miss that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because like I said, I was born in the 70s. I was raised in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in a time where if you was acting up on in your neighborhood and your next door neighbor saw you acting up, they had permission to beat your ass and take you home. They literally had, like, I literally got beat. I literally got beat by my next door neighbor because I was acting a fool on the street and my mother and them wasn't home. And so I was acting a fool. My next door neighbor pulled up and saw me acting a fool. She beat me and put me in the house, in her house, until my parents came home. Once my parents came home, she took me to my mother and father and told them what I did. And then I got another beating. So yeah, I mean, I grew up in an era where the community looked out for the young kids back in the day. They literally they looked out. They made sure that they was going to school. Like nowadays, they trying to enforce it, but they really can't. Now, I mean, when I was growing up, if you wasn't in school, the police was stopping you. Why you not in school?
Yeah.
They trying to enforce it now, but they really can't because these kids is like, man, fuck the police. So I mean, they'll pull over and the kids will just take off running. But yeah, when I was growing up, the police would literally pull up on you while you're not in school. Come on, and put you in the car and either take you home or take you to school.
Yeah, I remember it used to be the, and I'm gonna give my man D for the last word. He used to be I used to be a cop, man. I used to call him what was his name? Mad Dog. I used to call this dude Mad Dog. It was a cop, man. And I would never forget. One time my cousin was talking to him crazy. And man, he slammed him on that concrete, bro, like it was a wrestling move, man. I think about that. Rambo was his name. Rambo. R.I.P. Rambo. Rambo picked my cousin up. I mean, free. He slammed him.
Your cousin probably lost all the wind that was in him.
Hey, and it wasn't to try to like do nothing or embarrass him. Rambo really cared about the kids, man. And I always remember, like, when he went home and he told my grandma what Rambo did. You know what she said? I would have did worse. And I'm telling you, this was a slam on the concrete. This wasn't on no grass. I always think about that. Whenever I see my cousin, to this day, we both in our 30s. And I always say, you remember Rambo slammed you like that? Picked him up. Yeah. Oh, I know what he did. He invited Rambo to his private parts. Picked him up, boom. I mean, it was like, I'll never forget that. But you know what? People like that ain't around anymore, unfortunately. And I hope as the channel grows, as I can do more in the community, man, I hope to do more. Like we did a hot dogs and hamburgers giveaway. I want to bless some of these kids, man,
Pause.
because
Pause. Y'all can't be giving out hot dogs.
there you go. There you go. Hey, you have my man Doug getting hot on us, man. I was like, what? Salute to my man Doug right side. That brother was throwing a fit last night about that. He said nowadays kids, they kick kids out and everything reply with I got kicked. He said, what can they do? The parents aren't parenting. That's true, because I mean when Rambo got my cousin, he got another whooping when he got home. I mean,
Yeah.
he really
That's what I'm saying.
did.
That's what I'm saying. Like I remember the times when I got a whooping by my parents, and then just so happened my grandparents came over and they end up giving me a whooping as well. So I'm like, dog, I grew up in a time where you were scared to do something wrong because you knew you was getting a whooping.
You're gonna have
Nowadays,
to answer for it. You're gonna have to answer
yeah,
for it.
nowadays that you can't put your hands on the kids. I told my kids, I said, you can call the police all you want, but best believe when you call the police, make sure you leave with them because you won't be coming back here.
Hey, my favorite line that my grandma said, man, may God be pleased with my Granny G, man. She said, I'll beat you in front of the judge.
Right. No,
But it
like
was funny.
I remember I had beat this was with my first wife. We ended up having to take her son in because her mother had passed or whatever. Her son was like I think was like 9 or 10 years old, and he was acting up in school, and so his sister gave him a beating. So he went to school the next day, and he had like a couple of little whelps on his leg. He was light skinned because he was mixed with he was black and Mexican, so he was light skinned.
Yeah.
So he had a couple of whelps on his leg. So the teacher called the police or whatever, and they came to the house. So they would talk to him, and he was like, "No, my sister didn't do that. I was acting up, and so she gave me a beating or whatever." So the police was like, "We're not going to do anything or whatever." Or whatever. So the counselor left, but the police officer, he told us, he was like, "Look, I understand. You got to do what you got to do to make sure that they act right." He said, "But next time, hit them in the body so it won't leave no marks. Don't hit them on the legs and the arms. Hit them on the body so it don't leave no marks." So they know. I mean, these kids acting a fool out here in the streets is because they can't no parents put no hands on them no more. But like I said, I put hands on my kids. I don't care. You can call them if you want to. You call
Hey,
them if you want to.
hey, speaking of that, I gotta tell you another funny story. Man. I remember one time my little cousin was running from my grandma. Hey, G5, man, I heard that your parents were cousins, but that's okay. But anyway, I remember one time I told my grandma, I think I told her to shut up or something, man. Something crazy. And I'll never forget, I don't know what she hit me with, brother, but I just remember being unconscious. And the funny part about it, she didn't feel bad at all. She said, I'll do it again. She should say it all the time.
Right.
You talk crazy, I'm gonna be crazy. But I just
Right,
never forget that. I actually lost about 30 minutes free of time. I don't know what happened.
No,
I don't remember what happened.
the worst beating I ever got was from my great grandmother, dog. She went out and got a switch. Like she told me to go get a switch. I'm not gonna get no switch. And she like, "Oh, you're not gonna get a switch? Okay." She went outside and got a switch, but the switch that she got was from her daughter, which is my grandmother, Rosebush. Them motherfucker had
Oh,
thorns on them bitches. Dog, she beat my ass, dog. I swear to God, that might have been the loudest and the most feminine scream you would ever hear me do. Dog, I could tell you right now, I sounded like a straight female out there screaming when she was whooping me with that switch. Dog, that's the worst whooping I have ever got in my life. And I've never did anything wrong around my great grandmother again.
and you know what's funny? We laughed at those moments, but you know what? A lot of that kept a lot of us out of trouble, man. Kept a lot of us out of jail. And I'll tell you this, man. Just understanding that, you know what, we ain't talking about like I had a friend who was getting abused, And I'm gonna tell a story about that because to this day, even though I was a child, I always wish I could have did more to help my friend. But I remember one time my friend was getting beat up by his father. So me and another friend, we ran, we tall. So I'm like 6'3" at the time. My other buddy like 6'7". So we think, we about to beat him. Man, but his dad was like 6'6", strong as a gorilla. And I remember we trying to stop me, right? And my friend's father hit me in the stomach, hit my other buddy in the stomach, and I'll never forget, that was the first time I ever threw up. And that's when I learned you might be an adult, you might feel like you're an adult, but it's a different strength when you talk about a grown man going up with a kid.
Right.
Height or not. And it was wild because I never forget that. He was like, I really couldn't stop it, but I was throwing up. He just got me one good time, boom, but it was clean. And I remember just throwing up all over the floor.
Yeah,
and I thought to myself, all this because I'm trying to help a friend.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, like I said, this generation that's out now, they don't see the damage and the heartache that they causing on other people and even themselves because they so busy in the moment. And
Yeah,
they gotta understand there's life after today.
for
But if
sure.
you give it all away, your life ends today. Your life ends today. You can say, like, it's been plenty of times that I say, you know what? I'm not even gonna waste my time fighting this dude. And I just literally will walk away because I know the capabilities of how I can get. And I also know there's a possibility that he can get a lot worse than me. And I don't know what the outcome is going to be. So sometimes you gotta know, okay, is it worth fighting or is it worth
Mm-hmm.
just going here and walking away and living to fight another day? Because yeah, you might think you could beat that guy. You might even probably can beat that guy. But
Mm-hmm.
who's to say that that guy is not one of those guys that can't take an ass whooping? Because
Oh yeah,
nowadays can't nobody take an ass whooping. You
for
beat
sure.
somebody's ass and all of a sudden he got to retaliate. He can't take an
Yeah,
ass whooping. So
yeah,
I mean, sometimes you got to know, hey, you know what? It's okay to walk away. You're not a coward to walk away. Or they could say you're a coward by walking
mm-hmm.
away. But the one thing they can't say is you're not walking tomorrow. Because you will be walking tomorrow. If you walk away today, you'll be walking tomorrow.
For sure. I'm gonna read this last comment. My brother Billy said, I grew up with 5 brothers, butt whoopings all the time. But as a kid, it was the verbal abuse that got to me. But I'm straight after letting my hands. I don't get me wrong. I lost majority of it. But I'll just say this. One thing I will say is words do hurt. They used to have this one of my favorite riddles was sharper than any sword and light as the feather, and his words. And I think, you do got to be careful what you say. Um, One of the reasons why, I can even do YouTube is because BVO came from a neighborhood where you got to have walrus skin. Like I remember, I had surgery,
Yeah.
and the cat said, "You made it through." I was
Yeah.
hoping you would be gone so I can get your bite. And I remember
Right.
thinking to myself,
Yeah. That
hey,
that's
bro,
that's one of the lessons that my father taught me as a young child. Never pay attention to what somebody say. And the only reason you should get mad is if they saying something that's true. If they
yeah,
talking about you and it's true, that's the only reason why you should get mad. If it's not
yeah,
true and you know it's not true, there's no reason for you to get mad. Like people can call me all kinds of names and everything. I don't pay attention to none of that. It's when
yeah.
you actually put your hands on me, then that's when I react. And I tell people that all the time. They be like, "Oh, you ain't gonna do nothing. He called you a bitch. So what? So what? I know I'm not. I
Right,
know I'm not. Now
right.
you want me to go out here and prove that I'm not, and then I end up in jail somewhere because I'm proving that I'm not. No, I
Yeah.
ain't got to prove that I'm not. I know I'm not. So it's not even worth me going out here and proving. Now he go ahead and swing on me. Now I'm gonna show you that I'm not.
No,
I'm gonna show you I'm not.
hey, the thing I would say this, man. At the end of the day, I will admit words do hurt because I grew up roasted, so it's like ain't then you can really say I heard all the jokes, I heard every joke you say, and I love it. But I think everybody don't have that mental fortress to understand that words are just that. And at the end of the day, I will say I grew up with people who really took their parents' words the wrong way. But honestly, and I say it like this, I really believe most parents, I can't say all, but most parents are trying their best. Whether it's seen or it's even felt, you got to understand that they are trying their best, man. I think so. What you think, Free?
Yeah, most parents try their best. Like no parent decide. Well, I ain't gonna say no parent. Most parents don't decide to have a kid and say, you know what, I'm not gonna raise his ass, or I'm not gonna raise her ass. No, they have a kid because they wanted to have a kid. Most of
Hmm.
them. Now, there's other situations, and I'm not going to speak on that. But
Right.
most of them have kids because they wanted to have kids. So they try their best to their best ability. And some of them not equipped to be a great parent, and some of them don't know how to be a great parent. But it doesn't
Hmm.
mean that they ain't trying. It just they don't have the abilities or they don't have the know-how to do it. So I understand if a parent is out here trying their best, they out here working 2 or 3 jobs, and they trying to keep the lights on, they're trying to keep a roof over their head, they're trying to keep food in the house. I understand. Those are the ones that I give all the respect to because
Hmm.
they doing the best that they can possibly do. It's the ones that say, you know what, you go fix some food for yourself or whatever. I'll be back home when I be back home. I'm going to hang out with such and such. And you leave
Hmm.
the 8, 9 year old in the house to fend for themselves. Those are the ones I don't have no respect for.
And I'm gonna tell you a funny story. And I'm gonna get my brother Kareem in here, man. I say this. I never forget. I had a good friend, man, who had all the nicest clothes, but was starving at the crib, Cree. I mean, I'm talking about you could comb your hair in the back of his fridge. It was like, wow, bro. Like the dude would never have no food in the house because his mother prioritized buying clothes over feeding the children. And I say it like this, man. If you don't treat these kids right, man, you're gonna get a bunch of Koreans boxing news. And that's the last thing that you want. Go ahead, Ring. What you got to say, bro?
You ain't lying. You is not lying. You're gonna get a whole bunch of me's around this motherfucker. No,
Hey,
but I
go ahead.
don't I don't think some mamas try to D free. You know, I think some parents don't want to be parents, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really agree with that.
I think that is true to an extent, because I done seen some bad moms, man. I done seen some bad moms. Like I seen it to where you would have like a mom who will always choose her boyfriend over her kids. I mean, we done seen Baby Boy. We seen when when Jody got knocked out, and she said, "Don't leave, Melvin. Don't leave." I mean, but I'm gonna be honest with you. At the end of the day, man, you can't pick your parents. It is what it is. You can't pick your parents, man. But I don't know. I'm gonna let you get the last words, D Free. I'm gonna let you get the last words, man. Go ahead, D. What you got to say, brother?
Man, the only thing I got to say is, man, if you got a child in this world and they living with you or they visit you on a regular basis, instill in that child what they supposed to learn growing up because the best legacy you can leave behind is your child. People could talk about you and say good things about you, but the best legacy that you can leave behind is your seed. Your seed is going to be the best legacy that you can leave behind. So if you want to have a great legacy, raise your child to be great. That's how you have a great legacy.
I agree with that. You got anything to say, Kareem? When we get out of here?
Nah, I ain't know I was getting in on at the end of the show, but yeah.
Hey, you the one that made my brother Dub upset, man. So you want to try him
Nah,
out, man.
nah, y'all the one made the most sense talking about the pause.
But you know what? We do. We want to roll with the punches, man. It's your boy BDO. It's your boy D Free. It's my brother Kareem, and we go, man. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. We really boxing. Who wanted the baddest? Let's see. Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video. Put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO. Bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO. This how it's finna go. I'ma throw some jabs. Make them think my punch is weaker than I hook his ass. This the ring, not the kitchen, but I'ma cook his ass. Me and him, that's the pro versus the rookie class. All my life I had to fight, but I still love it. Me and BVO got moves that you can't steal from us. And these haters be throwing shots, but I don't feel nothing. I ain't gonna lie, shit, they alright, but we a little rougher. Step up for the title and face your rival, this ain't no little tussle. Bet I beat no bird, being chicken to get your feathers ruffled. Footwork, I'm dancing around my opponent like the Cupid shuffle. Good work, bodies hit the flow, they can't move a muscle. The upside is we ain't in the streets, shooting and shooting up. Catch me in the ring, sticking, moving and suited up. I know everybody can eat, but I ain't full enough. Oh, you said it's smoking some beef? I guess I'm pulling up. Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video. Put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO. Bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit